Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for celebration of Computer Science Education Week here in Indiana. We have our friends with Tynker who are going to be delivering some content around a coding lab that's super cool and will be available not only live, but then also as a recorded session to view later. So at this time, I just want to say just a few words about Keep Indiana Learning and STEM Synergy. STEM Synergy is the STEM leg within Keep Indiana Learning, which is also housed within the Central Indiana Educational Service Center and provides professional development resources and tools in lots of areas for educators across the state of Indiana. So at this time, I'd like to turn it over to my friend Daniel with Tynker.
All right, my friends. Am I sharing my screen? I hope so. All right, well, welcome everybody. This is CodeLab on Tynker Live for Indiana. So we're very excited to join you today. This is the show that helps students and teachers make and create with Tynker Code. I'm Mr. Rizak of Tynker, and I'm welcomed by special guests, Tynker specialist Miss McGriff and Mr. Lockhart. How are you both doing today?
Doing great.
Doing well, thank you.
That's good. I'm good. I'm in Chicago. Mr. Lockhart is in
Atlanta.
Miss McGriff is
Alabama.
So we are all over the country, ready to help and give Indiana the best code lab ever. We're going to be working through Coding Cup today, which is pretty exciting. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to play around with Coding Cup. Ms. McGriff, what are we going to be seeing from you from Coding Cup?
We are going to customize jerseys and create characters.
Awesome. And how about you, Mr. Lockhart?
How to have some successful strategies and move up that leaderboard.
Awesome. And you know what I have? I have lots of links and resources and t-shirts and stickers to give away. So I'm going to be helping to make sure that, our students are really taken care of and they have all the great stickers in the world for Tynker. So before we get started with that, I want to make sure that everybody is able to kind of share the experience. So go ahead and tweet and share and invite your personal learning network to join us today. Right there, you can put that on your favorite social platform. But today's lesson for Coding Lab is like I said, it's Coding Cup from Byju's. This is a bot programming style game. It's kind of like a precursor to AI. It's very cool, but I mean the grade levels from second grade all the way up to high school. They're any student can join. It's all self-guided too. Today, we're also going to be giving out t-shirts. If we happen to answer your question live, we'll be doing a Q&A. So you're going to want to write that down right there because I'll have to remind us a couple times throughout. That is GoTynker/CodeLabQ. If we answer your question live on air, we will be happy to send you folks a Tynker t-shirt. It's going to be amazing. And then, of course, shout outs if we're going to be checking the Indiana leaderboard. So if you do tell us your team name, that's part of CodeLab. We'd love to see and what your jerseys look like. So Ms. McGriff's going to be making some cool jerseys for us. And then if you want some stickers, I'm happy to send you some stickers. We're going to change the world with code, and all you need to do is send. I'll give you that information in the end of today's session. So here is the agenda for today. Here's the agenda. We're going to be we're welcoming you right now, so welcome. We're going to be talking about what is Coding Cup. We'll make sure we all understand what that is. We're going to check in on the leaderboard and make sure you understand what your leaderboard looks like, what the world leaderboard looks like, and maybe we'll check in on the Indiana leaderboard because that's pretty cool. We'll be creating some amazing jerseys and teams with Miss McGriff and checking out strategies with Mr. Lockhart, and then we'll go through our Q&A with our Tynker specialists. So that is how we're going to get started. But let's get started by understanding what is Coding Cup.
Welcome to the Byju's Coding Cup. In this high-octane multiplayer game, your virtual soccer team will battle against other teams to win. Choose and customize your team of 3 players. You'll need a goalie, a defender, and a striker for a complete team. Control your virtual team with code rather than a game controller. Follow the basic training path to code your players and build a team strategy. Train your team, compete globally, win prizes, and let Byju's guide you to be a coding soccer champ.
All right, so let me help you get started. So I want to make sure that everyone's in the right spot. We'll make sure you get started. And there's a few ways to go to the right place to log into Tynker and all that. So I want to make sure we're all in the right place. I made a short link so you can go to GoTynker/cup sign in. That'd be one way to do that. I can't type right now, but if anybody has the fingers and wants to put that in the chat, that would be awesome. But GoTynker/cup sign in. But let me walk you through two other ways you can get to Coding Cup. There's a couple ways to do this. One would be to just go to tynker.com/codingcup. Students, you can log in right there with Google or however you normally log in. Username, password, should be pretty easy. Then you can start the experience right there and start designing your team. Or you can do it a different way. You can just go to tynker.com. And then go and log in as a student, however you normally do that. Username, password, Google, whatever. And then you can play right there. I think there's a card that'll give you the option of starting, or you can go to your classroom, which you should have if you've hopefully been able to been invited to a class, and then Coding Cup is right inside your classroom lessons. And then you start designing your team. And that is how to get started with Coding Cup. Now, there's a few resources. I want to make sure that every teacher has these resources before we get going here. There's a few places that you can go to get some amazing extra content for Tynker. And that is, we're doing a special partnership with Lumio. So if you are interested in doing an interactive Tynker lesson, you can go to GoTynker/Lumio. We have partnered with Kahoots. We have all these great Hour of Code Kahoots that you can do. If you go to GoTynker/play Kahoot. And then if you want to tell us your experience and tell us what you think of Coding Cup, we're also giving away some Tynker swag there. So you can go to GoTynker/coding flip. That'll be open to the end of this, maybe the end of this week. You still can give us some feedback on that. All right, so that brings us to checking in on the leaderboard. And for that, we are going to bring it over to Mr. Lockhart. Tell us, Mr. Lockhart, how is the leaderboard looking? And go ahead and share your screen.
All right, so let's go here. All right, so can you see my leaderboard? That definitely want to make sure we're getting there, or my Coding Cup. But when you look into the leaderboard, looking at the top teams that are out there right now, that Meat Pie team still was leading yesterday, but there's some others that are moving up, Closed Interest, Super Flash. And what's really neat about the leaderboard is you can see not only where the top teams are, you can see what countries kids have actually picked to align them with. And then there's actually a class leaderboard too that you can go to, a school and a class leaderboard, as well as you can create a leaderboard with your own friends. And if you go and you flip over to this next screen, I even have a special leaderboard for Indiana. So you have Lionel Messi Soccer and Pop from Greater Clark County Schools in Charleston Middle School, leading, being the best team in Indiana at the moment. And Popular Al from Holy Cross Central is second.
Awesome. Any other news for the time being?
No other news for now.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, well, let us move on to our next segment with Miss McGriff. I'm just going to bring it right over to you, Miss McGriff, and not share my my screen. But what are we going to be seeing from you about amazing teams? How do we create some amazing teams?
Absolutely, Dan. So we're going to be customizing our characters and designing jerseys together. So let me go ahead and share my screen. All right. And so as you can see, I have a team here, And I'm going to go ahead and click Edit Team. Now, keep in mind that when you first start playing Coding Cup, you may have very limited customization options. But as you continue playing, you can come back and customize your characters, and your customization options will have increased. And there's so many different ways that you can customize your characters. So I'm going to click Edit Player, and I'm going to click on the paint icon at the bottom, and I want this character to look like me. So I'm going to change, I have so many different ways that I can customize this character. I have skin, nose, eyes, hair, head, and I'm going to do my best to make this character look like myself. So I'm going to start by changing the skin color, changing the nose, the eyes, see brown eyes. I have short hair, and the head. So I think this character sort of looks like me. So I think that's a great start. I am going to save, and then I am going to do my other characters as well. I'm going to try to make them look just like Mr. Rizak and Mr. Lockhart. So I'm going to start by changing this character to look like Mr. Rizak. And here's Mr. Rizak. So let's see, skin, nose, eyes are blue. So let's see here, blue eyes, hair. I'm going to give him a spiky haircut. And yeah, the head. Definitely. All right. So I think I have Mr. Rizak here, and I'm going to save that in the upper left-hand corner. And then I am going to do Mr. Lockhart. And so let me see here. So Mr. Lockhart, I am going to do skin. And then the nose, I think I'm going to choose this one as the nose. The eyes are also blue. I'm going to choose different eyes. And Mr. Lockhart does not have any hair, so we are going to do this one. And I think I like the chin just the way it is, and I'm going to keep that as Mr. Lockhart. So I'm going to save that, and I'm going to go back, and I'm going to customize my jerseys. And so here, there's so many ways you can customize your jersey. You can make your jersey look however you would like to represent your school, represent something that's important to you. And so I would like mine to look like the Argentina World Cup away jersey. And so it's purplish blue, it has an Adidas logo, and it also has the Federation logo there. And so I'm looking at my character, and I'm going to go under jersey, and I'm going to choose the t-shirts. So I'm going to choose this one as the t-shirt, the bottoms, and the shoes. And then I'm going to design my logo. So I have one here that I've already designed. And so this is my copy of the Federation logo and the Adidas logo as well. So there's so many different ways that you can design. You can use the fill button, you can use the erase button. There's the draw freely button and the draw shape button. I think I'm gonna see if I can draw some. It looks like the away t-shirt has like fire at the bottom. So I can do some fire here, maybe with some blues and purples. Can do some little drawings here. So many different ways that I can customize this t-shirt. And I'm not an artist, not the best artist in the world, but it's a lot of fun. And when I look at my t-shirt, I can go back and I can change the size of my pen, and I can draw shapes and circles and squares, as you can see here. I'm going to go ahead and save it. And then I'm going to go back and look at my team. And it looks like they have what I've drawn. on their t-shirt. So they are ready to go into a match. So I'm going to go ahead and click play match. And let's see them play with their jerseys on. And so they have their jerseys and they are ready to play a match. So it's really great. You see the characters look exactly the way that I have created them to look, and the jerseys are there as well. So I'm going to go ahead and stop that match and hand it back over to you, Mr. Rizak.
Here I am. Great. Thank you so much. I'm sure everybody's teams are going to look amazing. I'm going to actually then just pass this over to Mr. Lockhart, who's going to walk us through some great strategies for your goalie, for your striker, for your defender students. So we're kind of, I think Mr. Lockhart's doing pretty good. How are you doing today in the standings?
I don't know. I haven't actually looked today, so we'll have to see here in a second.
Well, I think you were like in 15th, somewhere in the top 15 at some point.
Yep.
Let's see how we can make some good teams and strategize with code for Coding Cup.
All right, perfect. All right, so I think the first thing to do is let's actually go and play a match so you can kind of see some of the strategies that are kind of standing out and the ones that I use that have made me decently successful. So one, you see the goalie kind of stay where he is and he passed the ball to a teammate. And really the key here, and you'll see my guys go a little faster. That was not a great shot, but that sprinting is always prioritized. And you can see they catch up a little quicker. The goalie should get this ball. I think if you watch my team as well, you'll notice that the striker and the defender, they kind of play in a very similar way. Because I always thought that having guys, that's going to be a goal. Having guys that actually play both ways, play both offense and defense is very helpful. And so you can kind of see that code play out, that it's all about getting to the ball first, sprinting, playing a little bit of offense and defense. And then I have the goalie kind of stay back and play in, got a 1-0 win right here. If I kind of come to the leaderboard, you'll see I'm not in the top teams. The top teams is really close. I haven't checked my rank today, so it may have dropped 26. So it's dropped a bit because I wasn't playing a lot. I didn't play since we did one of these yesterday. Whereas some of those other teams I'm sure are playing a lot because the amount of times you play is going to help you kind of move up that board. But if I come over here to add a team, you can start to see kind of the code that my team and see kind of how that code was put together where the match played out that way. So if I come in here and I click edit code, you can see kind of I'm playing with two strategies with the goalie. So the first strategy is over here is basically going and saying, keeping him back, letting him play defense. The second strategy is to basically have him have the same code as my striker and defender and play in the field. And if I give up some goals, I give up some goals. I've kind of come to where I like the defensive one better, but I have had a little bit of success with the offensive one too. And then I think as you start to kind of piece this code together, really think of it in kind of like an if this then that statement is the what's going to be the biggest priority that you want to happen first. And if that doesn't happen, what's the next priority? That's kind of how I've structured this code out. I think with the goalie's code is going to be different than the defender and the striker. The defender and the striker's code is going to be almost identical just because, again, I want those guys to play both ways. And I think as you look at one of the other keys, these operators here, huge key, because a lot of times if you just put pass to the nearest teammate and you don't have something like if I have the ball, it's going to be a little bit slower. It's not going to know to do it as well. And so the goalie is always, that's his first thing. He's going to pass. And then this one about tackling and sprinting. These operators are especially helpful with tackling and sprinting because you can't do it all the time. So it says, if I can tackle, then I'm going to tackle, which basically means I'm going to take the ball. And then I kind of right underneath those kind of main operators with the goal and those main if this and that statements, it's prioritizing movement, where it's basically saying if he can sprint, again, an operator that's really key because if you don't have that in there and you just put sprint to the ball, it's going to wear your guy out. This is basically saying if he can sprint and the ball's close, he's going to sprint to the ball. And this one basically says, all right, fine. If he can't sprint, he's still going to move to the ball. And then the last two down here are all about moving up and down. because really that goalie, I just want him to move up and down in front of the goal. So it's basically saying move up and down on the y-axis, because Tynker is a coordinate plane. So move up and down on the y-axis based on where the ball is. And if none of that is true, I want him to stay to the left side. I want him to stay on defense. If you look kind of at the defender and the striker, the code comes in 3 main conditional statements. The first being if I have the ball, I want to be aggressive. So if I have the ball, that's the first priority that I'm always going to take. Then the second one is if the defender has the ball and is close, because if the defender has the ball and is close, I don't have the ball, so I don't have to worry about that. But if he's close, I can actually do a little more. So that's the next priority. And then the last one is basically if I'm not close or I'm not near the ball, that's what I'm going to do. And really from the people in the field, it's all about that aggressive approach for me. Being the first thing to prioritize is sprinting. Again, that can sprint operator, huge key, and sprinting to the opponent's goal. And then if I get close, I'm going to shoot it. Because that's what this is basically saying, that if the kick can reach the opponent's goal and I'm close to it, then I'm going to shoot it. If I'm not close to it, I'm going to move to it. So that's really kind of, again, being aggressive, trying to get there. And then if people are near me, because I don't want them to steal the ball, I'm going to actually program it in where I move around, I move away from the opponent if they're near me, top, bottom, middle, or top, bottom, left, and right. And then if all of those other things aren't true, I'm just, again, still being aggressive and moving to the opponent's goal. And if I don't have the ball, I want to move to the ball. So that's where that else statement comes in. And then when you look at defense, the whole idea here is basically saying that if any opponent has the ball and is close, then I'm going to tackle. That having that operator again with tackling, because you can't always tackle, it's stealing the ball. And then if I can't tackle, I'm going to sprint. So those are kind of 2 real big keys for me, is trying to take the ball as much as possible, trying to get to the ball as quickly as possible. And then if an opponent can reach the team goal and cover, he's going to cover. And then again, if the opponent has the ball and I'm far away from him, I want to kind of move to the side and play defense. So I'm going to move to the left. So because that's where my goal is. And then the last 2 here, if I can this is that little tiny conditional. If I'm not near the ball, or if I'm far away from an opponent who has the ball, that if I can sprint, I'm going to sprint. If I can tackle, I'm going to tackle. So the biggest keys for me are there, and then move to the ball. Now, as you look at kind of the other part, is you have that code, you also have skills that you can use. So if I come over here to skills and I hit skills, then that idea here is that I can actually sprint, and I have sprinting and luck being big keys as far as what I can do with those. I think those are some of the biggest keys as far as the skills, because I always want to prioritize that sprinting, prioritize that luck. And then with my defender, I also have them tackling a little bit, taking away the ball. So really moving to the ball quickly, taking away the ball being kind of my biggest priorities. And as you kind of see how this plays out, you can see that code really play out. Because I'll go in here and play a match, and you'll see my guys get to the ball pretty quick. And so then they're going to go and move back to the left if the opponent has the ball. Oh, he took the ball from me, but I'm going to try to tackle as many, and I missed a tackle a couple times and they scored. And then I think if you want to move through this game really fast too, you can play a lot more, because that's going to help you move up the leaderboard. So you can go and you can put it on 2 times speed, and you can even fast forward to keep playing. So I can come here, that match is over, I lost, which is okay, because sometimes you lose. I've beaten this team many a times too. They've beaten me many a times. And then you can go in right into that next match and play that next match.
So while you're there, can you just go to the leaderboard so we can see based on how you just did? How it
adjusts? Yeah, how it adjusts. It adjusted me down slightly. I think when you get to a certain place on the leaderboard, it gets hard to move up, to be honest. Because what I have found it to do, and that team was actually a little bit below me, that's probably why it adjusted me down, is it'll play like you'll play several teams in that kind of range. And then you may play the same team a couple of times to see who's the better one. And then that's when you start to move up.
Now, good to note that round 2 is just about over, I think in 15 hours, and then round 3 starts. So students who want to, be the leader, you'll have a new round starting that'll go for another, I think, to the 18th or something like that. I have to double check. And everybody starts over from 0. and you have a chance to win, big prizes for Coding Cup. So it can be a lot of fun. Then you've got the classroom leaderboard. You've got other shared tools there. So that's great. Any other notes before we move on?
Nothing from me. I think we've got a good kind of base of what you can do to get in there. And if you're really stuck, go back to the training, take it over again.
Yeah, no, there's some great training in there. There's the basic training, but then of course there's also the strategy training too. So that's like the next level.
Absolutely.
So let's go ahead and we can kind of summarize this a little bit and make sure everyone has.
I don't think that's the tab you wanted, Dan.
Oh, we don't want that tab. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Forget how to share. All right. Yeah, no, that's the one right there, right? Big black screen.
Yep, you got it.
There
now.
are two different ways to empower your team, through skills and through code. First, the players on your team have 5 characteristics or skills that you can modify. Each player has 10 points available to spend on skills. Your players come with predefined skills, but you can redistribute these points across the skills however you like. For example, you may want your goalie to have top-notch defense skills and a striker to have great shooting skills. If your players are struggling to win in the arena, you can adjust their skills at any time and play again. The second way to power up your team is through code. After finishing training, your players are match ready. But to win more matches and climb the leaderboard, you'll need to personalize your team's strategy. Launch the code editor and define player behavior. Have fun!
All right, so it is fun. So I hope you will dive in. So we have some questions for our Tynker specialists. We've been collecting the best questions, only the best questions for our Tynker specialists. So David, Leandra, these are for you and maybe me, I don't know. But we've been collecting those over at CodeLab Q. And sometimes these come in at the last minute, so I'll make sure to, if another one pops in, I'll throw it up there. But let's start with question number 1, which is, I suppose this is a Mr. Lockhart question. Is training required to do a match? If so, how long does that training take? Can you help students and teachers understand that process?
Sure. So in training, the training's there as a way to help you. It's a way. So some of the blocks are new. If you've used Tynker before, it's definitely a different kind of way to kind of approach it a little bit. But I think what's great about it is it's constant iteration. You're constantly trying to get better. The training's there to help you. So especially with the basic level, it is going to require you to do the basic level. And the basic level will do things like moving around the board and gameplay and how to shoot, and really maybe takes you, it's going to vary based on your level and how fast you want to go through it. But I would definitely say it would take 30 minutes, maybe a little less. I think from a standpoint of after that, you can actually jump into the game after that. You don't have to take the strategy training, but I would definitely recommend it because I think those are the things that are going to make you really successful in the game.
That's great. Yeah. And I did this with a classroom of students. I watched them live, and it did take about 30 minutes to get to basic training, which is the one hump you have to get through in order to play a match. But I'm going to jump ahead. There's a question here for Miss McGriff. Miss McGriff, can you upload your own graphics to the jerseys when you're creating your jerseys?
No, you cannot upload your own graphics for jerseys, but you can definitely design your very own. So you can look at your graphic and try to design it based on what you see, but unfortunately you can't upload your own graphics.
Bummer, but it's okay. Use the amazing drawing tools that we have, and all will be wonderful. Interesting. So let me go back to question 2. How long will Coding Cup last? Ms. McGriff, Mr. Lockhart, how long is this going to go on?
So So I think the competition with the leaderboards will end, but I think the Coding Cup will be part of Tynker and the Hour of Code for quite a while. You can never say never, but quite a while. I definitely know that as you get into some of the other soccer seasons like the Premier League, you'll see some more with it.
Awesome. There actually is a couple more questions. They're not on my cards here, but one wants to know what will we get if we win the Tynker competition? Does anyone know?
I don't. Maybe Mr. Griff knows the dollar figures, but I think it's financial.
Yes, you do win cash prizes. So the first place winner will win $500. The second place winner will win $250. And the third place winner will win $100. And then there are about the top 10 will win about $50 prizes. And that's for each round. And there are 4 rounds.
There are 4 rounds. Oh, I thought there were only 3. So that's good. Oh, and it does go to December 21st. By the way, I will, if you go to tynker.com/privacy, all the official rules are in our privacy, and it shows you to piggyback off what you're saying. When this actually stops, December 21st at midnight Pacific time, eligibility and all these other little bits and pieces, but it does kind of break down how you're being graded, on basically how your rounds and stature and stuff is being graded. So it's that's pretty cool. Cash money, I guess, is use it for your classroom and buy your whole class a new set of books or something, right?
Yes, you can also head over to our blog to see if you've won. You should receive an email, but if you're not sure and you think that you're in the top 25 winners, then head over to our blog and check it out.
That's great. So for our next piece here, I don't know if you wanted to kind of highlight a few of the jerseys that are so creative and so wonderful that show up. I don't know. Did you have a chance to see and check out any jerseys for us?
We do have some jersey shout outs. So checking out some of these jerseys, this is from Hissing Scarecrow. And it's a smiley face. It's really simple, but sometimes simple is a good way to go. And it's very effective. Another one that we have here is the FIFA 2022, the FIFA champs. This is really great because they use text in order to create their jersey. So you can use text the way you would like to create a jersey that's unique in your own. So you can go a long way with that. And this one used flags from their country in order to do so. So they created their very own flags, and this is Striking Blaze. So there's just so many different ideas and so many different ways to go about creating your very own customized jersey.
That's great. No, I love to see the creativity. Tynker is probably one of the most creative coding tools that are out there, and we just upgraded our design tools and stuff like that with Tynker, so it's even better. Now, am I sharing the right screen this time? Oh,
yes,
good.
you are.
All right. If you are a t-shirt winner, if we used your question live, your teacher should email us. Go to your email, educatorsupport@tynker.com/ subject line Coding Cup shirt. What's the question you asked, school name, and if you want us to give you a shout out, I'd be happy to do that. Here's a link that everyone's going to want, I'm sure. If you want a classroom set of stickers, everyone's a winner. So go to Tynker/stickers and use the QR code, fill out the form. We will send you some stickers. It's amazing. You'll have one of these amazing Change the World stickers for your class. Every teacher always asks for these when we go to conferences and stuff like that. So if you missed a CodeLab, we have a link. There's a couple of special ones this week. We had a NASA CodeLab on Monday, which is recorded. Tomorrow, we're doing a special CodeLab with one of our partners. But you can go to CodeTynker/CodeLab Live 22. I think that's case sensitive. Sorry, I wasn't thinking about that when I was making that link. And you can go tomorrow. We're doing a special CodeLab with Lumio. This is a live Lumio lesson. So if you wanted to try out a new tool that you haven't done before, it's free for everybody. There's a link there where you can download the Lumio lesson. And it's kind of one of those interactive presentation tools. It's really cool. You can do that with all of your students. And we're going to do a global Lumio lesson with hundreds of students tomorrow. So that is available there. But that is going to take it to the end of our session for today. I want to thank so much all the Indiana teachers and Department of Ed and STEM folks, computer science folks at the department there that invited us to do this today. Thank you so much, Mr. Lockhart and Ms. McGriff, for your expertise in Coding Cup today. That is going to do it for us today, and we appreciate your time. Don't forget to create together at tynker.com. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much to the Tynker team for joining us today and for leading us through that activity. It's really a great activity, super fun to watch, even from my end, to just see what everyone can create and how they can compete against one another. So on behalf of Keep Indiana Learning and STEM Synergy, thank you all for joining us live today and or watching this recorded session later and jumping into Tynker and all the cool things your students can do within the CodeLab for this Computer Science Education Week for 2022. So thank you so much. And as always, check out Keep Indiana Learning Engagement Center for additional computer science and STEM related resources, professional development, and tools. Thanks so much and have a great Computer Science Education Week. Bye-bye.